Submarine-based horror game Iron Lung has seen a sales spike following OceanGate's Titan submersible going missing, something the developer has said feels so wrong. Developer David Chemansky shared a graph showing a spike in sales of Iron Lung that began on June 19, when the media began reporting on the missing submersible. "This feels so wrong," Chemansky said in the tweet. "I made Iron Lung the most nightmarish thing I could think of. And knowing real people are in that situation right now is pretty horrific, even if it was their own bad decisions," they added. Iron Lung is described as a short horror game where you pilot a tiny submarine through an ocean of blood on an alien moon. The OceanGate submersible, which was on an expedition to the Titanic wreckage, failed to make its scheduled return to the surface on June 19, with searches beginning the following day. The submersible also made headlines over it seemingly using a video game controller to operate it. A November CBS report showed OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush giving a tour of the vessel, where he showed a Logitech gamepad and said, "We'd run the whole thing with this game controller." A search and rescue mission is currently underway for the submersible, which has 5 people on board, including 1 operator and 4 passengers. As you likely are aware, 5 people are currently missing on board a tourist sub that was heading down to the remains of the HMS Titanic. We don't yet know what went wrong, and if those on board are still alive. It seems unlikely at this point, but a large-scale search for the Titan and its crew is still underway. Meanwhile, a little horror game on Steam is blowing up thanks to its eerie similarity to the real-life situation. The idea of being trapped, completely locked into a small submarine, and sent deep into the depths of the ocean, doomed to never return, is a nightmarish scenario that no one wants to experience. So it made sense to use that setup for a 2022 horror video game, Iron Lung. But then a few people got into a probably not safe submersible, bolted the door shut, and recreated that nightmare in real life. And not surprisingly, as the search for the sub continues, onlookers morbidly curious about the whole horrible situation have begun buying and playing Iron Lung, leading to a spike in its sales on Steam. Its creator behind the game isn't quite sure what to make of it all. On June 21, as the world became more and more aware of the missing Titan submersible, Iron Lung creator David Chemansky tweeted an image showing a large spike in sales for the small horror game. And over the last day or so, Chemansky has replied to folks asking questions about the game and how oddly similar it is to the Titan sub. For example, in the game, the player takes on the role of a convict who is locked into a submarine and sent on a mission to find something in a creepy blood ocean. Sure, that last bit, the creepy blood ocean, isn't part of the Titan story. But the nightmarish part about the people inside being literally bolted inside the sub with no way out is actually true. Indie horror game Iron Lung saw a huge spike in sales recently due to the real-life ongoing story of the missing Titanic submersible. The OceanGate Titan submersible takes guests down to the wreck of the Titanic, which sits on the ocean floor at around 12,500 feet below the surface. Last Sunday, the watercraft went down with 5 passengers, but went radio silent around an hour after its departure time, leading to a frantic search for the missing vehicle. It's believed the vehicle only has around 4 days of oxygen, meaning today will be crucial in determining the outcome of this horrific story. In what seems to be a direct result of the news coverage, the horror game Iron Lung has since seen an increase in sales, likely due to the similarities between the game and real-life events. Iron Lung sees the player enter a hastily put-together submarine, called the Iron Lung, which is welded shut from the outside. They're then dropped into a deep, dark ocean of blood with the objective of photographing certain parts of the ocean floor. There are no windows, with the only way of seeing outside being the still images that flash up on the screen when a picture is taken. The horror game saw a huge spike in popularity after it was played by several famous YouTubers like Pyrocynical and Markiplier, who recently announced that they would be adapting the game's story into a movie. Many people have drawn similarities between the game and the harrowing situation the missing people are currently experiencing. The game's creator, David Chemansky, shared the latest sales numbers on Twitter, which have increased significantly over the last few days. Chemansky said, "I definitely see the dark humor in this whole Titanic sub thing. It's just, like, I made Iron Lung the most nightmarish thing I could think of. And knowing real people are in that situation right now is pretty horrific, even if it was their own bad decisions." Of the increased sales, Szymanski later added, "It feels so wrong." The search for the OceanGate watercraft remain ongoing,